way, bro. No way. Get out of here. Hell nah. No. Okay, so you might have noticed a big shift in terms of the channel's content nowadays because there is so little that happens in this period where teams get eliminated and are waiting on the sidelines up until the draft and inevitably free agency. The problem is we have to wait a month for the draft and even longer for free agency. So around this time of the year, if you are new here, around this time of the year we start to see a lot more articles and radio pieces, conversations online, and people talking all over on podcasts and stuff about different names that could fit different teams. And this is why we are taking our liberties and responding to as much of it as we can. Let's go out there and talk about one of the latest articles that was written and published on dailyhive.com by Noah Strang, which dives into 4 undervalued players with huge potential that the Vancouver Canucks could trade for this summer. There are names here that are interesting. The picture, in fact, has Trevor Zegras, and we have spoken about Zegras a ton over the past few months here as a potential Canucks option. He's always been in that bubble, I'd say. The article is going to be linked in the description if you want to dive into it and read it yourself. But I did want to talk about one of the names that Strang lists as an undervalued potential Vancouver Canucks trade target. No, we're not going over Zegras or Lafreniere. Let's scroll down to number 3. Patrik Laine of the Montreal Canadiens. 27 years old, right wing, $8.7 million through the end of 25-26, and this previous year he had 20 goals and 33 points in 52 games. The Canucks need goal scorers, the article writes. There are few better natural snipers than Patrik Laine currently walking on planet Earth. In some ways, this could be a perfect fit for the Canucks, as they bring in one of the most dangerous shooters in the game. But Laine has his fair share of question marks. He hasn't scored 30 goals since 2018-19, and hasn't played more than 60 games since the 19-20 season. Laine scored 15 of his 20 goals last year on the power play. He was buried at even strength as the Canadiens struggled to stay afloat with the Finnish sniper on the ice. And I get it. There's a theory that goes around saying, hey, they need to replace Brock Besser, they gotta get goal support, they gotta do this, they gotta do that, and maybe once upon a time, Patrik Laine was a guy who was seen as a prime candidate to do that. He wanted 30 goals in a season? Okay, well, Laine could do that in his sleep. But that was like half a decade ago. And with all the injuries and struggles that Patrik Laine has had on the ice the past few years, it has been so disappointing following his career from the end of his Winnipeg days over to Columbus, where he started to get more assists than he did goals and inevitably forced his way out of the CBJ organization, mutually forced, I should say, because it's not like the Blue Jackets were keen on keeping him around. They didn't like him, they wanted him out. So he goes over to Montreal, fan favorite immediately, second overall pick. There's this high profile of his goal-scoring ability that is very much put on display. As the article says, 15 of his 20 goals were on the power play. The guy was a menace. Get him the puck in that OV spot after he frees up some space, and he buries it, and it's in. Like, 30% of the time that shot goes in. It's crazy because it's such a high shooting percentage. Laine is a monster from that spot. But as the article says, Laine got caved 5v5. This guy wasn't moving 5v5. This guy made mistakes 5v5, and he did not have nearly the same sort of goal-scoring offensive impact at even strength compared to the man advantage. And it's kind of weird because towards the end of the season, Laine stopped playing well on the power play. He stopped finding those shots and pushing them through. When he got injured, and it was Demidov who replaced Laine on the top power play, for some reason the Habs power play looked even better, despite the fact that Patrik Laine was the top power play goal scorer on the team. This is such an anomaly, but I think it speaks more volumes to the style of the Canadiens, just not really blending too well with the style that Laine has, on a consistent basis. Sure, when it works, it works. When Lane Hutson has that pass, he sends it over to Laine, boom, it's in the back of the net. It looks amazing. But Laine is so inconsistent at being consistent, but he is so consistent at being consistently not effective when he isn't consistent, and now I'm kind of confusing myself by speaking about that. This is not the kind of a guy that I think the Vancouver Canucks fan base would adorn themselves to in the same way the Montreal Canadiens fan base has. There are a lot of folks that are going to say, oh yeah, like, Patrik Laine is such a good, valuable player when he is on, but he's not on all the time, so we have to be patient. There are a number of Canadiens fans that are saying, yeah, like, we have to trade this guy. He doesn't provide enough. He's a bum. He's this, he's that. And I just feel like Montreal Canadiens fans at this stage of their team's progression, I feel like Habs fans are a lot lighter than Vancouver Canucks fans at the moment. Canucks fans are cynical. Canucks fans are fed up. Canucks fans want this owner gone. Canucks fans... Okay, I don't know if Canucks fans want a practice facility, but they want one to be built just so they stop looking like fools and that coaches stop leaving the team. But Canucks fans are in a much more beat up and maybe depressed emotional state than Canadiens fans are right now. Canadiens fans are probably going through the roof. They made the playoffs this previous year. They had a crazy Game 3. Oh, look at Lego, he's hanging his hat on one game that they played in the playoffs. Yeah, of course! It was a great game! The fact that they were even in that game in the first place, the fact that they made the playoffs, total shocker. They were 31st in the league in the December part of the year. So Habs fans are happy, Habs fans are ecstatic, Habs fans are excited. Canucks fans, no, they're absolutely not excited in the same way. So getting Laine onto this team, sure, it might be a shot of adrenaline for the city of Vancouver, and what this guy could bring could be very inspiring for next season. Oh, Laine and Hutson had some great chemistry, and there could be a really nice spark there. What about Quinn Hughes and Laine? Yeah, okay, it does make sense in theory, but until Laine stops scoring, that's when you're going to see things really go off the rails. And Vancouver, oh boy, I see this city and the way it reacts to players in the past, man. They are not going to treat Patrik Laine kindly. You want to talk about pressure? You want to talk about the guy getting in on himself? You want to talk about nerves? You want to talk about the guy starting to let the noise bleed into his brain? Patrik Laine, I hate to say it, but he is that guy. And when he is in an environment where all the eyes are on him and he stops playing well and he gets a lot of hate tossed his way, that's when he goes down even further and continues to not be effective. And Vancouver is definitely not going to help him in that way. Just take a look at how this fanbase treated Elias Pettersson. Even other guys in the past. Luongo. Look at how they spoke about Eriksson for however many gosh darn years that guy was on this team. The second Laine stops being productive is the second that Laine starts becoming public enemy number one in this city. Heck, Elias Pettersson can still be seen by some fans as public enemy number one. Oh, he's soft, he's this, he's that. His name gets slandered so much. And I get it, Laine is making less money, he's a winger, so there's less responsibility, there are less expectations on a guy like Laine compared to Elias Pettersson, who was a 100-point player just a few years ago. But Patrik Laine, oh boy, if he's making $8.7 million against the Vancouver Canucks cap, and he ends up having a dud of a month, they're going to talk about this guy like he was Ilya Mikheyev or something. I just don't think it's a fit for Patrik Laine personally, and yeah, that dollar amount is really high, so the Vancouver Canucks are going to have to find a way to fit that in. I mean, you think about it, if they re-signed Brock Besser to what Brock wanted, it would probably be somewhere in the $8-point-something million range anyway, so do you want to pay a few extra $100,000 and get Patrik Laine, whose contract expires next year, and you're going to have to do this entire thing all over again? I'm sorry, I just don't really think it works out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the idea of a Patrik Laine trade to the Vancouver Canucks. I hope you enjoyed this footage. Sign on, and bye.